It's the first full day of Pope Leo XIV's papacy. And Pope Leo XIV celebrated his first Mass as the leader of the Catholic Church, while congratulatory messages poured in for making history as the first American-born pontiff. The 69-year-old Robert Prevost was chosen to be the 267th Pope by the conclave on Thursday, after more than two-thirds of the cardinals voted for him to succeed the late Pope Francis. The Pope prayed for peace in his first official remarks, but his words come against a backdrop of deadly wars, a long shadow of abuse within the church he now leads, and chaos and division at home under the Trump administration.
I will sing a new song to the Lord because he has done marvels. And indeed, not just with me, but with all of us, my brother cardinals, as we celebrate this morning, I invite you to recognize the marvels that the Lord has done, the blessings that the Lord continues to pour out upon all of us. Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church, as a community of friends of Jesus, as believers, to announce the good news, to announce the gospel.
Pope Leo XIV at Mass earlier today. Joining me for more on developments along these lines is a Catholic and human rights expert, Dr. Onyemechi Ogunweze. He joins us live from Frankfurt in Germany. Good to have you join us on Well Done. Congratulations to you and all Catholics the world over on, history happening at this time. First, what's your overall take about the emergence of Robert Prevost as Pope, especially considering initial resistance about an American Pope with the level of influence that the U.S. wields?
Well, thank you very much. It was a surprise, actually, not only for me, but for a lot of people. Robert Prevost was not even a front runner. He was not a part of the papabili that was swirling around the conclave as it started. People were thinking about people like Cardinal Parolin, the Secretary of State under Francis, and many other, Pizzaballa from Jerusalem, and so many other people. But Prevost was actually a surprise to so many people. Although what I heard from some people in the Vatican states that he was well known because he was the dean of the dicastery for bishops, who was responsible for every bishop that will be or was appointed under Francis in the whole world. Well, it's quite a surprise, and his first words were, "Peace be with everyone, wherever you are." And this indicates that there's going to be a ministry that will be anchored on seeking peace. And for you to seek peace, you have to do justice, which implies that he is intent on emphasizing justice as a basis for peace. And, the church will always reform itself, and then we are seeing the cardinals wanted to teach us something. An American is also a follower of Christ. An American is also a Catholic. An American is also a bishop. So wherever anyone comes from doesn't actually play a role. What plays a role is the way the Spirit guides people to vote in the conclave. And we saw that emerge in Cardinal Prevost, who has taken the name Leo XIV.
All right. And, in his remarks after his election just yesterday, he said something about the church being a missionary institute, always open to receiving with open arms for everyone. So I'm just curious, do you expect him to, continue in the footsteps of Pope Francis, with some of his liberal leanings, or do you think he would rather be a conservative in his approach?
Well, liberal and conservative, all these are just labels that people attach to what happens to be the predominant views of anybody who becomes a pope. But anybody who is a bishop, anybody who is called into the office of a bishop knows that he is there to be the shepherd of everybody. He's there to welcome the weakest members of the church. And these are the people that Christ actually came for. So he is going to continue the ministry of Christ, who called him. Francis took the church back to its roots. It made the church of the poor once again. Francis always emphasized that the church is not the amount of money in the bank accounts of the church. The church is the church of the poor, the weak, the marginalized. Those are the fringes of the society. These are the people that Christ came for. And I think anybody who becomes Pope will follow along those footsteps. When we talk about being liberal, what is being liberal in welcoming people who have fallen off the path? And what is being liberal in welcoming people who we call, for example, migrants into Europe or America? What Trump is trying to prevent right now. You know, what is illiberal in being racist? There is nothing illiberal about that. It's all, you know, so the church has to be open because the church is for everybody, no matter where the person comes from. You know, that was what St. Paul wrote in one of his epistles. He said that in Christ there is no Jew or Gentile. We are all sons and daughters of one God. And that's what the Pope, with his ministry, is going to emphasize going forward. That was what Francis did. And I think any follower of St. Peter will equally follow the same path.
All right, and some cardinals have expressed hope that Pope Leo XIV would build a bridge with President Trump. How easy or difficult a task do you think, that would be?
Well, yeah, you have to understand that the Pope is a head of state of the Vatican as well. And the United States has a mission in the Vatican. They have ambassador to the Vatican and vice versa. So over and above being the pastor of over 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide, he is also a head of state. So on that level, diplomacy is equally called for. And I don't believe that the Vatican has an efficient diplomatic service. And they are advisors to the Pope. So they will advise him on the path to follow in relating to such difficult politicians like Donald Trump. On the other side, he has to speak out when he believes that injustice risks a walkover if the Vicar of Christ keeps quiet. So this is what is expected of him and his office. And I know he knows this responsibility well before he accepted that election. So we are hoping for him dealing with whoever becomes the president of any country as it comes to his table.
So a new era is here. Catholic and human rights expert Dr. Onyemechi Ogbonweze, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC News at 10.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot.